Hello, good morning. Hello, friends. I am Cindy Wicker. I am on the Board of Trustees, and I am happy to be here with you this morning. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome to our Ingathering Water Communion service. Today we are officially kicking off our new church year. Yay! Thank you for joining. Yes. Thank you for joining with us both in person and online. If you brought water with you to participate in the water communion, we will invite you to come forward and add your water later in the service. Please scan the QR code on the screen to let us know that you are here, up there in the corner, or on your order of service. And you can also find that's where our donation page is also. If you are visiting with us this morning, welcome. We have a first-time visitor gift for you at the greeters table if you haven't already picked up your copy of your welcome book. So now I have a few announcements this morning. So let's just settle in because it's a little lengthy. But we're going to do this. Get your pens out. There's lots of places to mark on your calendar, okay? Okay. So first of all, Reverend Kathleen Fowler, who has been serving us so ably in this last year as our pastoral care minister, will be stepping aside from her paid position, but not away from our community. We thank her for her calm and dedicated presence in a time of great need. Where is she? And Reverend Kelly McNeil, our Minister of Congregational Life, is taking a month of leave to recuperate from the challenges of last year. To give her some space, we ask that you not reach out to her during this time, but please sign the card for her at the caring table. If you have questions about where to go for various needs, please see Andy Macharski or Reverend Teresa. Join us next week for our first annual Fall Engagement Fair. Booths will be set up in Beach Hall, both before and after the service. You can register for classes, sign up to be a part of a group, or find ways to volunteer. There's always lots of ways to volunteer here, okay? Please save Saturday, October 14th, with Reverend Teresa and the Healthy Relations team. We'll be offering a workshop from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on how to engage with conflict in a healthy way. So mark that on your calendars, October 14th, Healthy Relations team. And it's auction time. We're excited to announce that starting today, you can register to offer items, and when the auction goes live, bid on them. Be thinking about what you can offer this year, maybe something that was a hit last year, or maybe you have a new item or activity. Committee members and a dedicated tech team will be in Beach Hall after the Sunday service to demo our new auction site and registration process. And mark your calendars now for our Fall Festival and live auction on Saturday, October 21st. Let's make this our best auction ever. Woohoo! All right. Today, any joys and sorrows that were submitted today will be read during next week's service. Just a point of note. And thank you for your patience and eager listening. I am now done with my announcements. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am the aforementioned Reverend Kathleen Fowler, and my pronouns are she and her. I am honored to serve as your minister of pastoral care, even these last few days, but just thank you. I'm overwhelmed with that. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus. We begin this service by acknowledging that we gather on the ancestral lands of the Adena, the Hopewell, the Wyandotte, the Miami, Seneca, Erie, and Cayuga people. We cultivate this awareness that our symbolic acknowledgement be accompanied by concrete acts of solidarity, healing, and reparation. And now, the children are invited to bring in the light.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Teresa. I'm your new developmental minister, and I'm very happy to be with you on this Ingathering Sunday. My pronouns are she, her, and I look forward to a chance to get to know as many of you as possible. So I offer this chalice lighting by Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says you have done well and asks you still to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Let us light our chalice. Very carefully. Excellent. Thank you. Come, let us worship together and join in our opening hymn, number 1000, found in your teal hymnal or the lyrics on the screen.
Bye. Thank you, Evie, for your help lighting our chalice. Good morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. Today is an all-ages service, which means that our whole community is invited to experience worship together. Families are invited to pick up a busy bag out in the gallery and check out the quiet activities available in the We Worship area and Sloter Lounge. There are no Sunday school classes today, but infant and toddler care is available in room 101. Youth group, Navigator Scouts, and teacher orientation are all happening after today's service. Registration for this year's family activities is open, and many classes start next week. Space is limited for OWL sexuality education and for neighboring faiths, so please register today. Today's story is called A Church for All, written by Gail E. Pittman and illustrated by Laura Fournier. Gail Pittman is a professor of women and gender studies and psychology at Sacramento City College and winner of the Stonewall Book Award. She resides in California with her wife and daughter. Inspired by the Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco and other inclusive churches, this book celebrates a spiritual community that embraces all people, regardless of age, race, class, gender identity, or sexual orientation. The author writes, "On Sunday mornings, we gather together. Our church is open, affirming, and accepting, and we believe in love instead of hate. There's room for everyone." As we return to First UU for a new church year, we hope to honor many of the groups and activities that make our own congregation great. Sunday waking. Day is breaking everywhere. Let's go to our church for all. Church bells ringing, joyful noises, choir singing, laughing voices, candles glowing, banners flowing. Come enter our church for all. Frail and healthy, neat and messy, poor and wealthy, plain and dressy, all embracing, spirit gracing, each one at our church for all. Bodies wiggling, grown-ups reading, children giggling, families leading, toddlers flailing, babies wailing. Sometimes adults do too. There's room at our church for all. Hands receiving, hands connecting, hearts believing, hearts accepting. Feel the Spirit. Can you hear it? It's here at our church for all. The end. From senior luncheons to Justice Action Ministry, from Rainbow Connections to the Labor Day Retreat, from covenant groups to our religious exploration program for children and youth, and everything from church breakfast to lay leadership, from the auction and fall festival to choir and concerts and contra dance, and so very much more. I invite you to consider the ways our Unitarian Universalist values call us to be inclusive and welcoming here, and to imagine what more we can do together in order to truly have a church for all. I now invite the congregation to form a sheltering arc of love as we sing our young people back to their families.
Beneath our arms we shelter Good morning. I'm Amanda Hayes, pronouns she, her, and I am your Justice Minister. Our Share the Plate partner for September is the League of Women Voters of Metropolitan Columbus. The League encourages informed and active participation in government. We are so glad to have Elizabeth Greaser here to tell us more about this important organization. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a welcoming environment. And before I started, I just wanted to acknowledge that Reverend Fowler was the officiant at my wedding 13 years ago next week. So thank you so much. It's great to see you. And I also wanted to acknowledge a member of this congregation, Chris Johnson, who has really been doing so much work with the League of Women Voters, really gotten involved, and I know a lot of you have been volunteering with us, doing voter outreach events. Chris just updated me that you've had at least 6 voter outreach events at local libraries, talking to people as they enter and leave the library about the importance of voting, getting their registration up to date, as we have a pretty important election coming up on November 7th. So I know that you all are probably fairly familiar with our organization. We do have a tagline. It's called Making Democracy Work, and that is what we try to do with all of our outreach activities. We try and encourage people to vote, no matter what their views, what candidates they support, what party they support. We want people to be active in our democracy, because having a lot of participation is really how we get democracy to work and how we can move our country forward into the 21st and 22nd century. So thank you for all that you all are doing to help with that. So there's a lot of things that I could talk about in terms of what we're doing at the League, but I decided that I would give you a little bit of update on our next big advocacy project, which is working on redistricting. We have been working on this issue of gerrymandering here in Ohio since probably the mid-70s, so a long time. We've been at the ballot a number of times. I know Chris or Amanda have probably talked to you all a little bit about what we're doing right now in 2023, because I've gotten some petition signatures from your church to help us in the first steps. So thank you so much for that. But a little bit of background is our hopes this time is to get on the ballot with a ballot issue in November of 2024 to have an independent redistricting commission. And what that is a 15-member group of people who are not elected officials drawing our state and congressional district lines. So right now we have elected officials who are currently drawing our district lines, and there have been some issues with that, so we're going back to the drawing board. We are taking we've been learning, I would say, from other states who have this independent redistricting commission, and they've had a lot of success in really getting fair districts that more adequately reflect the people in the states that the politicians are representing. So our hope is that if we can get through this initial process in which we are submitting 1,000 signatures with our ballot language to the Attorney General's office, if he approves that, then we'll be on the hunt for almost 500,000 signatures throughout Ohio in order to get Ohioans behind the idea of having an independent redistricting commission, and then we can get on the ballot for November 24. So the idea of that is that there would be, in the independent redistricting commission, it would be regular, everyday Ohio voters. And any of you could even apply to be on this redistricting commission. There would be 5 individuals who are connected, have a history of voting for the Democratic Party, 5 with the Republican Party, and 5 that are independents. And you cannot join this independent redistricting commission if you have been an elected official within the last 10 years, or you're a lobbyist, or you are related to or work for any of the political parties. So what we're really looking for are people like you all that are interested in democracy and ending gerrymandering to consider being on the commission. And of course, that's down the road. We still have to get this issue on the ballot, and we have to pass it, and then we'll go forward with trying to draw new district lines. But since you all have been involved from the very beginning, when we're just collecting these 1,000 signatures, I wanted to come up and just give a really brief overview of what we're hoping to do. Again, I know I only have a couple minutes, so I didn't want to go too much over my time, but thank you so much for everything that you all are doing here to make sure democracy is alive in our communities and is that voting is accessible for everyone. So very much appreciate that. Thank you for all the volunteer work that you do, and I really look forward to continuing to work with you all in the next year as we start on this exciting advocacy journey. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Elizabeth. So as we pass the basket around, or as you use the QR code on the order of service or on the screen, half of our plate money will be shared with the League of Voters, and half of it will go to our congregation. So please do share as you feel called to support this wonderful work. Your gifts help to build a better church and a better world, and our offering will now be gratefully received.
Wow. This morning, as we ponder and meditate on what unites us, our spiritual faith, our connectedness to each other, our relationships of sharing, I wish to add another voice, that of Richard Wagamese from his book, Embers, one Ojibwe's Meditations. He was an Ojibwe-Canadian author and journalist from the Wabasimoon Independent Nations in Northwest Ontario. Wagamese tells us, "I've been considering the phrase all my relations for some time now. It's hugely important. It is our saving grace. It points to the truth that we are all related, that we are all connected, that we all belong to each other." The most important word is all. Not just those who look like me, sing like me, dance like me, speak like me, pray like me, or behave like me. All my relations. That means every person, just as it means every rock, mineral, blade of grass, and creature. We live because everything else does. If we were to choose collectively to live that teaching, the energy of our change of consciousness would heal each of us and heal the planet. And if I could be permitted to add a postscript to this wisdom, I would say we can't wait for the other to start this collective listening. It needs to start with us today, now. We have 2 caring cards this morning. Linda T. had a stroke in early September, a mild stroke, and she was hospitalized. She was doing well at Riverview Rehab Center. She welcomes cards and visitors after a call to her cell phone, please. The address of Riverview is 3710 Olentangy River Road. And Rennie R. is celebrating her 80th birthday today, September 10th. We celebrate with you. Happy birthday. And we have 3 announcements. We hold up the death of Jimmy Buffett. His tropical rock music brought joy to many, many hearts. Deanne C. announces, "We had to rehome our family dog and miss her very much." We extend our gratitude to Chris J., Susan O., and the members of the Democracy and Human Rights team for their dedication in offering the congregation opportunities to work toward democracy through voter outreach. So we encourage you to visit the caring card table in Beach Hall after the service to sign caring cards whether or not you know the person. This long-time tradition of signing caring cards in person is an important outreach to our members and friends. This morning, we hold up the devastation that rocks our precious Blue Boat home, the devastating earthquake yesterday in Morocco, the continuing burning or flooding of vast acres of land, which Maui and Greece are only an example, and the ongoing warring in the world. May peace descend into the hearts of all citizens of this planet so that a new world may be created to honor all individuals and our planet. And as I always strive to end with reasons for hope and greater connection in the world, I hold up the push to revive traditional Palestinian embroidery in Palestine, a craft that is a traditional reminder of their heritage, of historical Palestinian identity, and of their survival. And I hold up the ongoing work of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers and their Fair Food program. It is serving as a model and blueprint for human rights organizations in the construction and textile industries, as well as other fair food sectors, and has spread beyond the U.S. borders. May each worker be free of fear and able to work in a healthy and safe environment. We hold all these joys and sorrows and those yet unspoken gently in our hearts. And as I ring the temple bowl, I invite you to pause, follow its source, say a prayer, meditate, or simply consciously breathe.
Isn't it lovely to have the choir back? Thank you. It's like half the congregation. It's amazing. There we go. So this morning we begin the church year of full programming, and it is tradition for us in this first Sunday of the church year to participate in a water ceremony, a water communion at Ingathering. This is a tradition that was started by two Unitarian Universalist women when they were gathering women at a conference in the 1970s, trying to emphasize women's spirituality. And they were looking for some kind of ritual that would be able to speak to their connectedness to one another, as they say, to the totality of life, to our place on this planet. And it occurred to them to use water in this ritual. As they said, water is more than simply a metaphor. It is elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence. All life emerged from the ocean millennia ago. When we lie in our mother's wombs, we are surrounded by amniotic fluid. Given this sense of power that water can evoke, they created this ritual which merged waters from many places in the country. And so over time, congregations like this one have evolved the ritual to represent any of the places that you have been that you have found to be sacred, whether metaphorical or literal. I know some of you have brought water with you to add to this communion, and if you did not, you can find pitchers right next to each bowl. So please come forward and share your waters with this community at any of these tables. And now we dedicate these waters with these words, and I invite you, after each paragraph that I read, to join with me in saying, "This water is sacred." This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the many hands that have poured it with intention and love, the many stories that each drop contains, the many lives surrounding it in this unique moment, connected by commitment and faith. This water is sacred. May it continue to flow through this community with shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members and friends. This water is sacred. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of growth and change. This water is sacred. May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. This water is sacred. In moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred.
I would now like to invite any of our children and teens, or perhaps anyone who feels young at heart, to come forward, pick up a stone, and gently place it into our bowls of water. So if you would like to help us put stones in the water, come on up. The color of the rocks changes when they are underwater, reminding us of the hidden and truer aspects of ourselves that are only revealed when we are surrounded and held in community. Together, our shared experience changes us and holds us. I invite you again to repeat after me, after each paragraph, the words, "This earth is sacred." This earth is sacred. Its clay holds up the rivers and the woods, the trees and the flowers, all living creatures, so that we may live out our purpose in this world. This earth is sacred. At times when we feel untethered and teetering on the edge, may we know we are held by its deep roots. This earth is sacred. May its solidity remind us that its resources are real and nurturing if we but nurture them in return. This earth is sacred. It reminds us that all are connected by ties visible and invisible, and we are responsible for one another. This earth is sacred. It upholds this community and its people, surrounding us with care and support. This earth is sacred. May we honor this connection in all we do.
I want to add my personal thanks to Reverend Kathleen for the wonderful ministry she has done for this congregation in an incredible time of need. She has really helped hold us in an important way. So thank you again. And I also want to honor the decision that Reverend Kelly made in choosing to step away for a month for her own mental health and her health in general. It helps remind us that self-care is so important. So she is modeling that for us. So why is it that we gather today in person and online? What is it that you are seeking in this community? I'm sure the answers are as myriad as people in this room, but most of them, I would guess, have to do with wanting to be in a community of meaning making, whether you're new to this place or have been coming for decades. My colleague, Marcus Liefert, offers this useful metaphor for what we may be trying to create together. He says Unitarian Universalists are mosaic makers. We're people who bring together the broken pieces of our histories and the shining pieces of our seeking, and piece by piece create a mosaic ministry. But our mosaic making tells another story too, one that can be more difficult to see, one that is essential to religious community, one that lies not in the beautiful and broken bits, but in the grout. The grout, the chalky, gritty stuff that is squeezed between cracks of tiles, the grout of a community takes years to lay and to settle. Grout happens in board meetings. Can I get an amen from the board? And in committee meetings, and in endless emails and slow-moving institutions. We make the grout when we learn each other's names, when we reach out across generational lines. We help to make the grout when we show up on Sunday morning without having first checked to see if we're interested in the topic. When a newborn arrives to be blessed by the community, it is the grout that enables us to welcome them. And it is in the grout that we rest when we gather to grieve and memorialize a beloved one who dies. So I can't say that grout is the most appealing way of thinking about community, but what did we just honor as sacred? Water and earth. And when you put those two things together, what do you get? Grout. And I'm coming to think that grout is really important right now. We can't always just be that shiny piece in the mosaic. Sometimes it feels like our shine has worn a bit thin, or that the difficulties of life have washed over us so much that we may feel our colors are all washed out. But I believe that we are here because we know that being connected to other people will help shore up our strength. Our colors can begin to shine again when put in the context of that grout. Grout isn't very pretty. It can be messy to put together, and sometimes over time it develops cracks of its own. Just like our communities aren't always perfect, they can be messy. Difficult things and disappointments can make it feel like our cracks are showing. And this community has had to withstand a lot of cracks recently. Dealing with the aftermath of a minister who wounded staff and disappointed many can make it feel hard to feel the strength of this connection. Understandable. But I think you are here because you want to rebuild those connections. I think that you are here because no matter how much your heart may have felt broken, here is where the pieces can be put back together again. My colleague Gretchen Haley says, what our faith asks of us, what our faith imagines for us, is that somehow, right at that moment when our hearts break, we will find our way to see through that heartbreak. We will stay put, not close off, not run away, not hurt back, but keep on being in relationship, doing what we can to repair the world and each other. Because here is where we can begin to put the pieces back together. As a minister who's new to you, I already know that there are a multitude of you who are willing to get your hands dirty in that grout. I know that many of you feel hurt, yet you are still willing to show up and be with one another, even with those whom you think hurt you. I know there are newcomers here who probably have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay. Because I'm guessing that you are here because you need real connection. You need to see yourself as part of something larger than yourself, a mosaic of meaning making, a web of reciprocity. We stir and we mix the grout and lay the foundation, not just for now, but for the next generation to come. What binds us together is not a common set of beliefs. What binds us together is that we willingly enter into a covenant that affirms a faith in one another that is brought to life only by our living and acting on that faith. I look forward to that building and rebuilding that we can do together to strengthen this beloved community. So may it be. And our final hymn is Blue Boat Home, found in your teal hymnal, and I might be able to figure out what number it is. 1016. 1064. 1064. If you are willing, please take the hand of someone close to you. And if we could extinguish our chalice with these words by the Reverend Joel Miller, who grew up in this church, let our lives be a prayer that waters dry souls, mends broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms. Amen. Go in peace.